at the ball here. Hope this ain't too terrible, actually. Let me get rid of that. Make sure this is not too terrible to stream. Kind of want to talk about Jeremy Swayman versus the Jonas Korpisalo debate that I've seen with Bruins fans. Just kind of how everything has been kind of toxic in the Bruins fan base in this regard, that it's kind of silly, in my opinion, to making a comparison between Swayman and Korpisalo, and in this regard that, I don't know, I'm just in some Bruins groups, and comparison to the last couple of years where it's been kind of like, kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. It seems like it's very contentious with how Swayman got paid $8.25 million. We brought in Korpisalo, who, admittedly, I'm not the highest on Korpisalo. Kind of the advanced analytics show that the last 3 years, 2 of them he's been towards the bottom end of the league, if not the worst goaltender. So for me, with Korpisalo, I'm not high on, but I think in a backup role he should be effective enough. But what I've kind of seen interesting, and maybe it's just kind of on the internet circles with Bruins fans. Hey, what's going on, Fire Girl? What's going on? But what I've seen very interesting is the kind of lack of unity with Bruins fans with Swayman and Korpisalo. Like if you said Korpisalo was bad in his first game, where I think there was 2 to 3 goals, I'm like, okay, probably should have had, like that one where the rebound control was really horrific, where it pops up over me, loses tracking completely. That's one you can't let in. And I think there was like 2 or 3. You want to say 2. There was a couple goals, like, okay, you want Swayman to have those. You want Korpisalo to have those. Those weren't really the greatest goals to let in. Am I going to let me through? No, you're not going to let me through. So, people pointed that out. And if you had constructive criticism or just criticism in general of Korpisalo, all of a sudden you're some big Swayman defender. And it was weird. I saw this in the group. It was like, oh, if you criticize Korpisalo, if you don't have same energy towards Swayman after that one start, it's just a bunch of infighting. I've been busy with a lot now. You'll be a mom. Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear. That's amazing. Wish you and your loved ones the best. That's definitely an exciting time. So December, right around the corner to find the gender. That's actually really cool. I'm so happy. That's awesome. Actually, funny enough, my sister's just got, she's pregnant. So that's funny. That's life works in that. So congratulations on that. That's awesome. And but with anyways, kind of rambling, so I apologize. With the Swayman and Korpisalo, like I criticized Korpisalo for not having a great game in the first game. Now the defense in front of him was absolutely horrific. So yeah, there's some criticism you definitely have on the team as a whole overall. But what I do think is a little bit, I guess, humorous in a way is that Swayman, kind of looking at those goals, I'm really trying to think on it. I have to look at, I don't think there were any like horrific goals he lit up against Montreal. And people just compare save percentage. Oh, they're very similar, so Swayman did just as bad, or things of that nature. And it's like, well, it's not just the quantity, it's also the quality of shots you face. What's up, Steve? What's going on? But it's not just about the quantity, it's the quality of shots you face. And I feel like Swayman, I did a game breakdown. Some of the shots that he faced against Montreal, I think there was maybe one you'd want to have back, but there were some really bad defensive lapses from the Bruins. And that happened against Florida, don't get me wrong, but it's intriguing now. You see in Bruins fandom like this weird divide that you're Korpisalo or Swayman, And you're having some people make kind of the foolish comparison that, oh, well, Swayman's the number one, so he's got to make all these spectacular saves, which is not realistic. We've kind of seen that in the past with guys like Jonas Korpisalo. Jesus Christ. Guys like Igor Shesterkin, right? He's won a Vezina. There's going to be some games where you have off games. Vezina winning goaltenders have off games. Olmark in his Vezina year had like the occasional off game. That just kind of happens. And then kind of taking the context out of it of Jeremy Swayman not having a traditional training camp and kind of having to play catch up. Yeah, he played with BU with Jay Pandolfo, kind of helped him stay in shape. But there's a difference in facing NHL level shooters and really getting truly prepped. And I appreciate you subscribing, Steven. I appreciate that. There's a complete different expectation there, or I say quality of warm up for the season when you're actually in camp against NHL players in comparison to getting ready with college kids. And there's some really good D1 hockey players in Hockey East with BU, but to say they're the same is just be foolish. But this is how I look at the Jeremy Swayman Korpisalo thing. Swayman got paid $8.25 million, and I think that is what it is. Do I personally think that's an overpay? Yes. I don't think Swayman has the track record to justify $8.25. Now, I saw Omar got paid $8.25 from the Senators. You could say he has a track record of getting the $8.25 because he's been there and he's done that. The problem with a guy like Jeremy Swayman is he's never had to really be the guy in the number one platoon. And you're just, you don't care about your life, I guess. You're just going to shoot right out there. But he's just going to be in the number one. He's never been the number one. And you could argue, Olmark, he was kind of in a platoon with Swayman, and I get that. But Olmark's been a number one in Buffalo before. And he's shown that even in kind of dire situations, he can be good. And he had a good first night for the Senators, so hats off to him. But so I think 8.25 for Swayman, a little bit much. I think Korpisalo, for what he gives you, was paid a little bit too much, if I'm being honest with you. But trying to compare both after one game and trying to say, they're very similar numbers and Swayman's overpaid, it's too early for that conversation. I think you have if you start getting, let's say 10, 15 games, he's still struggling and he's a sub 900, then there's some cause for concern. But Jeremy Swayman has proven to me each and every single year that he has kept improving and he's gotten better. That cup of coffee he had for 10 games, like a 945 save percentage. Terrific start to his NHL career, but I would say he's far more polished now than he was even then. And, during that playoff run, like Swayman has shown you the ability of being capable of being an elite goalie. Korpisalo, in comparison, who you've got for the Senators, who, by the way, play the same defensive style with a box plus one, just wasn't really good in that system. So, for me, my worry rate with Korpisalo is greater than with Swayman. Swayman has proven to me he'll have the occasional bad game, but he has the ability to bounce back. Korpisalo, to me, in the last few years, just hasn't shown a consistent game. He hasn't been a great goaltender. He's actually been, when you look at the advanced analytics, one of the worst goaltenders in the NHL. So, I think even having that conversation of trying to make some comparables is foolish, especially this early on. Now, I'll make it clear, as a Bruins fan, I definitely want Korpisalo to do well. I want him to succeed. Am I expecting him to? Not really. I think the Bruins would be lucky if he's a 900-plus save percentage goaltender. He has the athletic ability, but his over-aggressiveness can cause for some really easy tap-ins. I'm not as worried with Swayman. Yeah, it's one game, but didn't have the traditional training camp. First game of the season. The defensive lapses have been not so great in both games for the Bruins. So Swayman, to me, he earned my confidence that he'll be a solid goalie. Will he be elite? We'll see. But he'll be a solid goalie, in my opinion. And the bigger issue with the Bruins as a whole, in my opinion, is the defense right now. Defense isn't so great. Defense has been letting in some really, or been giving to other teams very, very easy opportunities to score, easy backdoors. Like that one on that Caulfield score on the back post, where a guy just missed assignment. It's like you can't really blame the goalie on that. Against Korpisalo, a couple of those like backdoor tap-ins. It just seems like the Bruins players, not just defense but some of the forwards as well, aren't taking up their proper assignments. And again, though, you bring in some new pieces. You bring in Elias Lindholm. You bring in Zadorov. You've had Frederick play third line center the last couple of games. You're having some moving pieces. There's new players, some guys in new spots. I think over time things will kind of work out. I think things will work out. What's going on, DEG? Appreciate you popping by. But I think things will work out over time with the Bruins. It's going to take more practice, more games, familiarity with one another, just like with any team that has new acquisitions. That's why you're better off bringing in new guys earlier on in the season because I probably would say most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, when a player is acquired at the trade deadline, it takes a little bit for them to acclimate with their new line mates because every player has different tendencies, and also their line mates have to figure out what their tendency is, how they play, where they like the puck, or how, are they a chip and chase guy? They like to wheel. Are they a puck control guy? Are they kind of more a facilitator, a shooter? Some of that just takes time. Like, okay, this is how he plays. This is his mindset, and able to build up that chemistry over time. And some players just will never build up chemistry with certain matchups. There's just some line combinations will never work, but generally it takes time to build that chemistry, build that confidence in one another so they can play smoother. And that's why what the Bruins are doing defensively right now, a lot of it's correctable. They have the talent on the back end. A lot of it is correctable. So for me, not just Swayman versus Korpisalo versus Swayman. I think Swayman has the chance to be a good number one. I think Korpisalo has to prove to me he can be a solid backup. If Korpisalo can play around LA King level when he was with the Kings, Bruins are in a good spot. If he plays with how he kind of did last year with the Senators, it's kind of a tough spot. There's a reason why the Senators brought in Ullmark over Korpisalo. It wasn't just because Ullmark has a better name or something, or they like the ease of the pronunciation. I don't know where, but Ullmark is a upgrade over Korpisalo. So for the Bruins, they downgraded from Ullmark, and that's going to be the new normal for Bruins fans. Like, we're used to having an elite tandem, one of the best tandems in the league, and we downgraded. So there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, for me, like, if I was to say, because I'm not very high on Korpisalo, I guess that was weird. It just disconnected. No, I don't know if that's reconnected. Just keep talking. I think with Swayman, Korpisalo, I don't have the same expectations of Swayman. Korpisalo, I just need him to be solid enough in a backup role where he's not horrific. That's what I need. I need him to be okay. I need him to be solid. I need him to really just have a positive, kind of like when Rask had Kudobin, or, oh, Jesus Christ, you remember that one year he had Hedberg for a short time? When Rask had multiple backups, like, there's Chad Johnson. You don't need the backup to be the same quality of the starter. Like, that's when you would run into an issue. I just need Korpisalo to keep his head above water and be decent. Swayman, if he has 9-15 or above, that's a successful season. And he's got to play a lion's share of the games. So I'm not trying to be too harsh on Korpisalo. I think I'm keeping my expectations realistic. So I'm hoping he has a good year, hoping he does well. But looking at his track record, I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical. Skeptical of the level of effect that he'll have with the Bruins. Swayman, not the greatest night statistically. I don't think he played horrific. But with Swayman, if you can kind of get him going and really just play solid team defense in front of him, I have all the confidence in the world Jeremy Swayman's going to be just as good as he was last year. He's every single year he's gone up and he's gotten better. And with the team around him, I think as the defense kind of figures out each other and the team defense gets better overall, I think Swayman should be in the conversation of a top 5 goaltender, if not like a top 10 goaltender in the league. But yeah, I don't know. Just it's weird. It's weird seeing it as a Bruins fan, like this whole infighting between the fan base. Korpisalo versus Swayman, Swayman versus Korpisalo. Just have realistic expectations for both. I'm not going to sit here and say that I expect Jeremy Swayman to have like a .930 save percentage for the season. There's going to be the ups and there's going to be the ups and the downs. That's the beauty of the sport of hockey. There's the good parts and then there's the bad parts. But to expect, I saw these comments. I expect Jeremy Swayman to make those saves. He's getting paid $8.25 million. Like that's fucking stupid. I'm sorry, that is a fucking stupid statement to have. If you think a goaltender just because he makes a lot more money is going to be able to like make impossible saves, you're an idiot. When you're thinking of an elite goaltender, you're thinking of a goaltender that can just make those occasional desperation saves that other goalies can't make. Play consistent. Like the big thing is with a elite goaltender is consistency, and that's what you're going to need from Jeremy Swayman is him being consistent. If he can be consistent, if he can most of his games play well, the Bruins are going to be in a very good spot. But to expect, because he's now making $8.25 million, he's going to just make, have a .950 save percentage or something insane. That's not how that works. You can have a greater conversation on what's the true value of goaltenders. And my goaltender union's not going to like when I say this, but goaltenders, in my opinion, is a position that's completely overpaid for the amount of. You would be better off getting an above-average goaltender and stacking up your team elsewhere instead of paying a guy like Shesterkin 11.25 or whatever it was, which that's admittedly been interesting with Swayman because he's allegedly wanted to. I'm not sorry, Shesterkin is that he didn't care about the money. Yeah, if you can come out, you're already halfway out there. He didn't really care about the money per se. What he really cared about was the Shesterkin was the term. So, which makes sense. I think he wants to cash in again. Which, if I'm the New York Rangers, do you want to pay a guy $11.25 million and then shortly afterwards you're gonna have to pay that motherfucker again? I don't know about that. It's gonna be rough. It's going to be really fucking rough with Swayman. With Shesterkin. Sorry. Swayman's on the brain. But he wants above. I've seen Shesterkin is demanding to be the highest paid player on the Rangers. The more I hear about these negotiations, the more I want him traded. Shesterkin wants above 11.7. $11.7 for Shesterkin? He's smoking crack. No way am I paying Shesterkin $11.7 million. I'd just be better off getting a goaltender at like $6-7 mil and then spending it on another defenseman. That's insane. That is insane. I want to do a quick live. I'm going to actually probably get off here. Got to go back to the boat. But, yeah. Kind of, 11.7 million. Yeah, I'm going to go on a rant real quick, actually, before I get off. All right? I'm going to say this. Igor Shesterkin is not worth that much money. If the New York Rangers pay Igor Shesterkin that much money, it is going to be the biggest regret that franchise has. It is very difficult to win with a $10+ million goalie as currently constructed with the cap space. With the current top cap level you can hit, it is very, 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 very difficult to win. So if Igor Shesterkin gets paid by the Rangers, 11.7 if that's true, that is the most idiotic contract ever. Especially with goaltenders that have been known to fall off the fucking map. Goaltending is one of those positions that you can just completely fall off. It's not that they're terrible or awful, it's just there's injuries. There's a lot, there's studies have proven with goaltenders, right? It's not a natural position. The butterfly is not natural for your body. Like, your hips wear down. On a lot of goaltenders, they have hip issues as they get older. Who's to say Shesterkin won't have those issues? I get the money, get the bag, all that stuff, but to get paid that much money, it'd be foolish. It'd be foolish for the New York Rangers to pay Shesterkin that much money. I mean, maybe he can win a cup. Maybe that could justify it. But is Igor paying Igor around just under $12 million? Does that guarantee you a cup? It doesn't, because you need the team around him. And some are going to argue, well, the cap's going up. The cap's going. Oh, yes, that's what we hope. That's what we hope happens. We hope the cap continually goes up. But to just expect it is stupid. Because there's been years I hate to say it, there's things that just happen that are out of our controls and that could freeze it or whatever. Now the cap should go up over time, but even if the cap goes up, that's a lot of money to lock up on a goaltender. And you definitely have to get guys like veterans like Jonathan Quick, what they've done with the Rangers before. You have to get a veteran on a cheaper deal. No way it makes sense, but yeah, I don't know. That's stupid. But I gotta head off here. I gotta get back to the boat. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, all that crap. My videos, I'll say this. This is a quick rant. I have noticed definitely a dip in views, but it's weird. I'm actually getting good watch time on my videos, so I don't know what's going on. So I'm just gonna keep having fun playing around with it, see what works, see what doesn't work, and kind of go from there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I know when I'm on the boat, maybe it's not the greatest quality. I think I try to make them good, but good as I possibly can. So I don't know. I'm gonna head off here, get on back in the boat. I'll see you guys in the next one.